Amara grew up behind high gates in Lagos, surrounded by guards, drivers and silence money often built around powerful families. Her father, Chief Adewale, was one of the richest businessmen in Nigeria, respected, feared and obeyed wherever his name traveled. Amara never worried about food, transport or school fees because money solved problems before they could even appear in life. Yet Chief Adewale watched his daughter carefully and slowly began fearing that comfort was building a wall around her heart. She spoke kindly but understood little about struggle, sacrifice, patience or the quiet dignity of people who survive hardship daily. One evening he called his most trusted driver Musa and his old friend Professor Okoye for a serious conversation inside. They sat in his study while rain tapped softly against the windows and the city lights glowed across Lagos tonight. "I fear my daughter knows the price of luxury but not the value of ordinary life," Chief Adewale said quietly. Professor Okoye nodded slowly because he had seen many rich children grow lost once real life tested their strength outside. "Then teach her," Chief Adewale said with firm eyes, "even if the lesson must shake everything she believes about life." The plan they formed that night was bold, secret and strange even for a man known for daring business decisions. Amara would be sent to a public university far from her comfort with no money and no famous family name. She would live like every struggling student, learning hunger, patience, friendship and the value of every small opportunity in life. The next morning Chief Adewale called his daughter and told her she was going to experience something important very soon. Amara expected another expensive trip or leadership program because that was the kind of surprises her father usually arranged before. Instead he handed her a small bag, simple clothes, and a letter of admission to a distant university campus today. "Your new life begins today," he said calmly, "and you must not reveal who you are to anyone at all." Amara laughed at first, thinking it was a strange joke her serious father would soon explain with his usual smile. But the guards removed her phone, the driver took her credit card, and reality arrived quickly without any warning today. By sunset she stood outside a crowded hostel building carrying one bag and confusion inside her chest, alone tonight here. The campus smelled of fried plantain dust and generator smoke, a sharp difference from the quiet luxury of home before. Her new roommate Zainab greeted her warmly, though the room held two thin beds and peeling yellow walls tonight here. That first night Amara could not sleep because the ceiling fan rattled loudly and mosquitoes danced above her head endlessly. Morning came with long lines at the water tap where students waited patiently holding buckets and tired eyes every day. Amara had never carried water before, but Zainab showed her how to balance the heavy bucket carefully while walking slowly. Lectures were crowded, noisy, and sometimes confusing, yet students listened with determination like people chasing distant dreams despite daily hardship. Soon Amara realized many classmates worked small jobs, selling snacks, washing clothes, or tutoring children after lectures every evening here. When her small allowance finished, she tasted real hunger for the first time in her life, and it shocked her. Zainab shared gari and ground nuts with her, smiling as if kindness was normal even when food was little tonight here. That simple meal stayed in Amara's memory longer than the expensive dinners she once ate inside golden dining halls before. Days turned into weeks, and slowly the rich girl began changing in ways she never expected before in her life. She learned patience, standing in lines for food registration books, and sometimes electricity in the hostel building late nights too. One afternoon Amara helped a classmate who fainted from hunger and walked her slowly to the clinic near campus gate. The girl whispered thank you with weak eyes, and Amara felt something warm grow quietly inside her heart that day. She began sharing notes, helping others study, and listening to stories she once ignored when life was easy before home. Months passed and the campus slowly felt like home rather than punishment from a confusing father far away in Lagos. One evening she watched sunset over old classroom roofs while students played football nearby, shouting with pure joy, "Tonight here." Amara realized happiness did not always require luxury. Sometimes it lived inside simple shared moments with ordinary people every day. She wrote letters to her father describing lessons, though she never complained about the difficult life she now lived daily. Chief Adewale read every letter quietly, hiding pride behind the serious face known across his companies and offices everywhere today. He saw his daughter's words becoming softer, wiser, and more thoughtful about people and struggles around her daily now too. During her second year, Amara started teaching children in a nearby community for free after lectures ended each afternoon there. The children loved her because she explained lessons with patience and laughed easily with them under dusty mango trees daily. Their parents thanked her with vegetables, smiles, and prayers instead of money, and Amara accepted gratefully every single time, always. Slowly she understood wealth was not only numbers in bank accounts but the ability to lift others with kindness daily. By graduation, Amara was no longer the sheltered girl who once lived behind gates guarded by wealth and silence before. She stood confident wearing a simple gown surrounded by friends who knew nothing about her billionaire family hidden far away. That evening a black car arrived quietly at the campus gate waiting for her with patient silent respect outside there. Inside sat Chief Adewale, older perhaps but smiling with deep pride shining softly in his tired yet joyful eyes. Amara entered the car slowly, unsure what words could explain the journey she had lived for years away from home. Her father looked at her carefully, seeing strength, humility and wisdom that money alone never teaches any child in life. "Did you hate me for sending you away?" he asked quietly while the city lights flickered beyond the window glass. Amara shook her head slowly with tears resting in her eyes because now she finally understood her father's difficult love. "You gave me the greatest education any parent could give," she whispered softly while holding his strong aging hands. She told him about hunger, kindness, friendship, patience, and the power of shared struggle shaping her heart and mind forever. Chief Adewale listened silently, feeling the heavy reward of a painful decision that changed his daughter's life for good forever. That night they drove through Lagos traffic, but Amara saw the city with new eyes full of empathy and respect. Street vendors, tired workers, and laughing students were no longer strangers to her because she now knew their daily battles. She promised herself that her future wealth would carry responsibility, not only comfort but opportunity for many others too always. Years later, Amara led one of her father's foundations, supporting students from poor communities across Nigeria with strong dedication daily. Whenever she visited campuses, she remembered the hostel fund, the water lines, and Zainab's kindness during those difficult learning years. She funded scholarships quietly because she knew dignity grows when help arrives without noise or pride attached to giving always. Zainab later became a nurse, and the two friends laughed about their small hostel room and stubborn rattling fun together. Sometimes Amara visited the campus alone, sitting under the same sunset sky, remembering the girl she once was before change. She realized her father had not taken wealth away, he had given her vision to understand people beyond money forever. Chief Adewale watched proudly as his daughter used power with compassion, guiding businesses, charities, and dreams toward better futures daily. The lesson he once feared to teach had become a living legacy inside Amara's heart, guiding her choices every day. Wealth could build walls, but wisdom could build bridges across human lives, connecting strangers through empathy, respect, and shared hope. And that truth was the greatest inheritance Amara ever received from a father brave enough to teach through hardship first. Many people later called her generous, but few knew the hard road behind her kindness and wisdom. Today, anywhere, everywhere, they only saw the confident woman speaking about opportunity, education, and dignity without knowing hunger once shaped her deepest beliefs. Amara never revealed the full story because the lesson mattered more than the secret behind her transformation years ago quietly. Yet sometimes she told students that comfort can hide the truth about life and struggle waiting beyond easy gates outside. She encouraged them to learn from people different from themselves because understanding others builds stronger leaders than pride ever can. The audience always listened closely, sensing honesty inside her calm voice shaped by lived experience, not empty motivational speeches alone. Somewhere in the crowd there was always a student struggling like she once did, carrying dreams bigger than their pocket. And those students left believing their future was still possible because someone powerful truly understood the road they walked daily. Chief Adewale eventually grew old, but peace lived in his heart, knowing his bold experiment had shaped a remarkable daughter. On quiet evenings they sometimes spoke about that rainy night when the plan began inside his quiet Lagos study room. Amara would laugh remembering her shock standing outside the hostel gate with one bag and fear in her chest then. Her father would smile knowing that moment changed everything for his daughter and perhaps for thousands she later helped too. Life sometimes teaches gently, but other times it teaches through storms that break comfort and reveal deeper human strength inside. Amara's storm arrived disguised as poverty but carried hidden wisdom that reshaped her heart, mind, and future leadership forever onward. Because of it, many students found doors opening toward education and hope through scholarships, mentorship, and quiet support programs nationwide. And each success story reminded Amara why the painful lesson mattered more than the comfortable childhood she once knew before. True wealth, she often said, is the power to change someone's tomorrow with wisdom, courage, and compassion shared freely always. Her words traveled across schools, villages, and cities, inspiring many young dreamers to chase education despite hardship, fear, and doubt. Yet inside her heart she remained the girl carrying a bucket beside Zainab, learning humility beside the noisy hostel tap. That memory protected her from arrogance and guided her leadership through power, fame, responsibility, and the temptations of wealth always. One decision by a strict father had quietly shaped many futures beyond the single daughter he loved deeply that day. And Amara carried gratitude for that difficult love every day, remembering how hardship opened her eyes to humanity everywhere around. She knew not every child receives such a lesson, but she hoped her work would spread the wisdom further still. Because understanding struggle creates leaders who respect every human story, whether rich, poor, educated, lost, hopeful, tired, brave, today, everywhere. And that respect can transform nations one opportunity at a time when leaders remember the people behind statistics and numbers. The girl who once feared mosquitoes now faced boardrooms without fear, carrying lessons from hostile nights and hungry mornings everywhere. Her journey proved that character grows strongest in uncomfortable soil, where patience, humility, courage, and empathy slowly take root deeply. And sometimes the greatest gift a parent gives is a hard road that leads a child toward wisdom and purpose. Amara never forgot that truth, even as her influence expanded across companies, charities, universities, and young hopeful dreamers everywhere today. And so the billionaire's daughter remained forever grateful for the day her comfortable world quietly disappeared and wisdom finally began. If you enjoyed the story, learned something, and watched till the end, please do us a small favor by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It's a small favor from you, but it would really mean a lot to us. Also, drop your thoughts in the comment section. I will be reading every one of them. Thanks for watching. Until next time, my friends.